fridge compressor will make an appearance like every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Every time it kicks on, everybody's like, yeah, it doesn't pick up in the recordings.
Oh, the compressor on the fridge.
The fridge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have to fix those.
Fridge is fucking on its last leg.
No, it's not, dude. It's been kicking since like 1985.
It's Keith Richards.
I would not get rid of it. New fridges suck.
It's Fridge
Hell no.
Richards.
Dude, it's been and it don't even. They got him.
Thank you.
We got him. The okay,
like
this
powered
is
by like an isotope or some shit. It's like a
mercury.
or something.
Just
yeah.
mercury's running through the back somehow. Old light bulb.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
It's just the aliens from Men in Black, the little tiny aliens.
They run forever, but you do run the risk of losing all your limbs if you have to work on them.
I used to work on refrigerators.
Well, hey, you're deaf in your right ear, so that has to be something.
What? It is
All
weird
right.
because I can definitely hear better.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the doctor.
You call a doctor.
Yeah, I don't know.
What is an ear doctor called?
Earmologist. Oh, fucking
Nice.
Hearing aid.
What?
Nice.
What?
We'll be here all week. Yeah. If Jim Traber was listening, he'd be dying. He'd think this was probably
God.
or he'd be pissed.
Dude,
he has no.
God, he is like the best.
You ever listen
epitome of
to
an old, like, just like all of our father figures in one, dude. Like, the dumbest shit. He just gets so worked up over stuff, and he'll be like, "I'm over it. Doesn't you think it bothers me? It doesn't bother me."
Oh, but it
And
bothers
then he'll be on it about it the next day.
And
Somebody will text
I'll
him
tell
be
you
like,
what.
"You're
And I'll
an
tell you
idiot."
what. And he's going on, you know,
he's like, "You can call me a misogynist. I've been called that before. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not a misogynist. Al, you've known me for how long?" He's like, "Oh, I've known you for
where you at, Jim?
Forever.
Where you at, Jim? Where you
like
at?
the worst.
What I love about
I'm at the Silverback Casino. Stop by with great winnings 24/7.
The casino then in the background.
In the background, it's classic.
what I love about this setup is it's on a friggin' ping pong table, and
Staring
you
at a
guys are at
prison
each
wall.
end, and I feel like I'm looking.
Cross-eyed.
We got to figure this out. Yeah, I know people are
It's like
like,
a-
who am I?
look at-
One
look
guy
at a
just sat
prison
down.
wall.
Well, who was it that just sat down and was like, who do I look at? And we were
right
like,
off the bat. Oh, it was he had a nice classical guitar kind of thing.
I don't
What's
know.
his name? Shit. Yeah.
I
whatever.
wish I knew a classical guitarist. I
Well,
got
he wasn't
nothing.
like, he
I was like,
wasn't like
oh.
super, I think it was nylon or something. But it was really nice. It was
Was it Willie Nelson?
Well, you'll remember as we go on. This is the Spark and Plug Talks. If you made it in this far, then, you know,
It was
I don't know.
before Tar Creek. Who was? God damn it, man. We've done
Ryan Lawson?
Ryan Lawson. It was Ryan Lawson.
Ryan Lawson,
He sat
yeah.
down. And he was like, "Who do I look at?"
Yeah, it
He's
is.
staring
weird.
at a prison wall right now.
He was just looking straight at that
it
wall
is.
right there. I was like, whatever floats your boat, man.
Yeah, we're like, it does
Just
look
look
like
forward.
well, it does look like a prison wall. We're like, shit. Sorry,
Yeah.
man.
It
Didn't
kind
mean-
of does. It wouldn't if you had the set list up there.
We'll
There
hang
you
it.
go,
We'll
yeah.
hang up the Creed set list. Yeah, that's on our to-do list now.
To me, if I was in prison and I saw this, it would give me hope.
Hell yeah, man.
It's like I could one day see this band. They're gonna play higher,
This is your
higher,
next music
higher.
video.
Maybe Colt 45, but higher.
Yeah, exactly. You know, maybe that's what we're saying. It's, 50-50 chance. You gotta pull the crowd. And we're with Gordon McKinney.
Took us a while to get there.
Yeah, if you've listened this far, props to you because obviously you give a shit about us.
That's brutal. That's brutal.
Thank you, Eric, for listening. We know you're laughing right
Yeah, we know you're.
now.
He's gonna be laughing in his truck.
Yeah.
He'll be having a good time.
Is
Man,
this live?
no.
Yeah.
So we're editing this.
God damn it.
Oh,
We
well,
could totally
yeah.
look
I
at
mean,
it.
yes, it's totally live. Everything you say,
He was
we
like,
can't go
oh,
back and edit.
The text line's blowing up right now, man.
Yeah.
People are so fucking
The
pissed.
text line.
8675
It's just Eric. He's continuing to just text us.
309.
Yes, Jenny.
Yeah, Gordon, thank you so much for coming out, man.
Man. Thank you both for letting me come out.
Hell yeah,
This
dude.
is a really cool deal. If you're a musician in Oklahoma and you're not here, you suck. You should be. I mean, not
You
as
heard the man.
not as a musician, but like as a person. You should be out here doing. This is
He's
fun.
Heard it
giving the
here first,
Lord's
yeah.
words
Yeah,
and tell him about it.
this is fun as hell, and well done. I gotta say.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
man.
Yeah, I
Gordon
love
popped his in-ears cherry.
it. I did.
Yeah,
Nice.
he liked it. I think
I
He got
did.
plugged.
Yeah. we agreed we need a new sticker.
This is that was great. I don't know what that was, but I've never used that in-ear monitoring.
Dude, they're
magic.
really, and we didn't. When we were rehearsing years ago up in another practice space, which was real small, and the PA wasn't set up to be, I don't know, in the most ideal spot. It was killer because there was like 7 or 8 of us all playing different stuff, but like the PA was just all pointed down at us, like direct. So we just get you get your ears, your head demolished because it'd be so loud, so you could hear everybody. And we were like, there's got to be a better way than this. Like, we gotta. What do those guys with in ears
And
do?
the keyboards were coming through some shitty PA amps.
Oh,
they were like non-existent.
it was God, it was
Just
just
loud.
It was murder, and
Fuck.
you had to watch where you point your mic because they were up and your PA was up in the air, so you just get horrible feedback randomly. And
Get
man,
the
it was-
in-ears.
well,
Get 'em.
we decided we got the cheapest, shittiest ones I could possibly get off of what Amazon or something.
Yeah, looking back, we could totally just bought a headphone amp and ran it headphone cables. It would have been
Oh.
like vastly cheaper.
Yes, but for some reason we got in ears and
Wireless, like wireless.
like the
in-ears.
wireless ones with the packs and everything.
If we practiced up in the city, we'd get radio stations.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they were super cheap.
yeah.
And so it'd be like, we'd be like, all right, hit that. We'll just start from the chorus and be like, 98.1 WWLS, the sports animal. The sports animal. Well, I'll tell you.
Yeah, we were like,
What?
It was-
we get kind of lost in it. We're like, hold on a minute, what are they talking?
Hold on, the
Yeah,
Thunder's
yeah.
up at halftime,
Yeah, we're just like,
Just be shit like that. And but we got those and we were like, so this, but it was nice enough to where we were like, so this is why people use these.
I can
Wow.
totally see it makes a big difference. I didn't know why people did it other than they had like lots of money, and that's a great way to hear yourself in front of 50,000 people. But when I play in front of 5 people, I don't need
Right.
in-ears. But I don't know.
Man, they're
Maybe
good.
just
They're so
practicing would
good
be
for just being able to hear you without straining your voice. That's like the most, like when we practice, it's awesome. Because we'll do like a kind of live setting practice where like we'll set up, maybe minimal monitors, just to kind of practice what it'll be like playing it live at some of these venues that we play at that are smaller and may not have like this huge state of the art
got some like
PA and
Dell computer monitors or some shit.
What's wrong with that?
well, nothing's wrong with it.
What
You
the
just
fuck
got to
are you
prepare
guys
for it
playing?
when you've like
I
played
duck-
with in ears or a bunch of monitors or something. It's just different.
Duct tape a couple of Dells to some headphones, and that's my in-ears. That's about what I'm working with.
Hell yeah, man. And we
I think I'm deaf.
well, I mean, get them checked out, I guess. Get them checked out, I guess. Get them checked out. I'm testing for them. Get them checked out, I guess.
Definitely the left one's better.
Okay. Well, is that the same pair
Ye-
that you were? No, you didn't use
Yeah,
headphones up
in-ears.
there.
No, I
Oh
did
my
this.
God.
Something's wrong. Something's wrong. It's something. I don't know.
Don't panic, man.
I feel like
Fuck,
Woody
oh,
Allen
shit.
right now. Something's probably wrong. My right ear is bad.
Gordon, man, what'd you start listening to when you were younger? Because you played 3 songs for us and they were
Yeah.
awesome. They legitimately were.
You could say
Really awesome.
honestly if they weren't.
I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, dude. I really liked them.
Thank you. As a kid, I was because I've listened to some of these shows, so I was like, oh, they're gonna ask stuff. And
for listening
what
to some-
should
Yeah, hell
I?
yeah.
What should I be answering? But as a kid, my parents were into. I mean, because everybody listens to what their parents
Right.
dictate. And at that time, we had one of those giant cabinets, where the lid kind of comes up.
Oh, nice.
And so there's an 8-track and a record player and an AM/FM radio, which didn't really work. But probably from the time of 0 until my teens, really, my parents were really into like folk music. Not like what would be considered cool.
I was gonna
folk
say
music.
like the Laurel canyon cool folk music, or like the
This was like
The
I make
opposite of that.
probably
Like Nick Drake type
oh
stuff.
now if my parents had listened to Nick Drake, I'd be a much different person. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here at a ping pong fucking table. I'd be at the Newport Jazz Festival right now. But no, they listen to like
hell yeah.
a what's Peter, Paul, and Mary, of course. Peter, Paul, and Mary, the Chad Mitchell Trio.
Known for their hit.
Exactly. Well, and that's
I
the
love
thing.
that song.
What's cool is like in those days, if there was a hit
Exactly.
song, every folk artist just recorded it.
Right,
So
right.
you might hear "Blowing in the Wind" on like 7 different, So
I didn't realize Jimi Hendrix just on Bob Dylan covers. I didn't realize he covered All Along the Watchtower only like a year after it had been out, or like a year and a half.
That
or
seems
something.
to kind of fit with how it goes. But Beach Boys now,
And Bob
the
Dylan's is
Everly
so much
Brothers.
Oh, shut up!
Oh.
He's just prodding.
He's
He's just
trying to start
prodding.
a damn fight.
He went.
just-
He went. Oh, like, he was so disappointed.
Give me your mic, Gordon. I'm gonna hurl it at him.
So I mean, the Statler Brothers. My favorite record, they had an Elvira record, which
Oh,
was
nice.
weird for us because it's a very, very kind of Christian home. So to have an Elvira record with that very revealing gown, but James Taylor, Chad McEwen, they did
Did
all
that
those, like,
lead you to? Did that Elvira record lead you to be a fan of the song Elvira?
of course.
Okay, I was just curious. I didn't know if that opened some kind of like young boy fetish or something where you had to listen all of it.
Man. We can talk about young boy fetishes. Bop, mow, mow, giddy up. I'm like, what the? I don't know what these words are, but I love them. Simon and Garfunkel, Everly Brothers, Beach Boys, gospel records, lots of church music. Grew up in the church, so there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Very like guitar and lyric driven folk anthems.
Now this has got to lead to when you hit the rebellious teenage years and you started listening to what?
Oh man.
Because that's about when it changes for like.
You
that's
know,
when it,
I was a late bloomer in all things, from puberty to music.
that's all right.
You're welcome. I hope
Thank you.
everybody who watches the videos is now like, wow, when do you think you got armpit hair? It was like 16.
Yeah. What's your
But
what's your over under on this
I
one?
was
Where you at, Al?
I was super late to good music. I really was. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people consider those records like, Joni Mitchell, and
Mhm.
I grew up on that, so I guess I didn't really think it was great, but I was super late to like good music. And so in my teens, I was in a terrible like AC/DC kind of emulating cover band.
Interesting.
I was in a punk rock band for a while.
But you did AC/DC
Oh,
songs?
of
Or it was
course.
okay.
I think everybody did. Maybe.
Did
So-
you actually? Did you
play
sing?
big balls?
No, oh my God, my mom would have died. My mom would have died.
Were you singing?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Of
Was
course.
it like? Were you actually?
Pulling
I don't
it
know.
off?
There's people who sing and do like the you do the hokey pokey, kind of stuff, and then there's people who actually are like
No, I was
who can actually sing.
I
it,
was
you
no
know?
good. I could
Okay,
not-
I was just
Monkey
curious.
was
So you were
better,
falling
dude.
into the hokey
I was
pokey.
it was terrible. And the band's name was Teaser. And I
Nice.
think we had a friggin' lightning bolt for the S.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
But I was in punk bands because I thought punk was cool. I mean, like my first band, I was really into Christian music for a long time. Like, I didn't feel like I was allowed to like listen to other stuff.
Yeah.
Like my first band at like 10 was this band called Heaven.
nice.
Yeah, and
you're all
oh, such a good song. See, like I was a sucker for ballads, Barry Manilow.
I can see like the polished steel heaven logo.
Is it just like South Park when they did like the "We're gonna be a Christian boy band" and like they did the
kind of
out on the beach with like they were all the
We
different
would look off
poses
to the
and shit.
distance.
Yeah.
Our song was "Angels Don't Play No Rock and Roll." And yeah,
Angels don't
Yeah.
play no rock and roll. This is like a weird. It's getting kind of like Huey Lewis now, almost.
oh, I dug Huey Lewis.
Hey man, everybody fucking loves Huey Lewis,
my-
baby.
Love me some Huey.
My favorite band, honestly, like in my early teens, was New Edition.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if you remember New Edition. They
Everybody-
did
yeah,
that Cool It
hell
Now and Mr. Telephone Man and all
yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
I didn't know they were black artists
Until
because
you saw them,
I
you were
grew
like,
up in an
"Whoa, holy
all-white
shit."
town, like an all-white small town. And so I went to Walmart to get like the cassette.
Yeah.
And I was like, this can't be right.
What a revelation.
Mom, these boys are black. Yeah, black people sing too. So I was very sheltered. It blew my mind. I was very sheltered.
Yeah.
And so they were probably my favorite band. And in my early teens, late teens, AC/DC, anything on the radio that I thought could make me popular, I was
You're
into.
checking out, yeah.
I mean, I don't care if it was Warrant, Trickster, Slaughter.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah.
I was in all those.
I was kind of the
cover
same way. Like
bands.
my mom only listened to really like top 40 stuff, just whatever
Mhm.
was on the radio.
Mhm.
I mean, my dad was way into grunge. I mean, that's what he just had dozens of grunge CDs. You know,
He
like
was forward thinking in his music.
well, yeah, well, that's what he loved. He'd latch his claws into an artist, and he'd get like bands that are really only known for maybe one song, like live.
Yeah.
You got Lightning Crashes or whatever.
Mental Jewelry, isn't
But-
that the name of their?
That
Mental?
is it? Well, there's what Throwing Copper. That's their famous one.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he
I had listened to that
band,
song.
Crash Test
dude.
Dummies, dude.
He
Oh.
loves Crash Test
Love
Dummies.
that song.
He loves
Loved it.
them.
Walls.
Cake. That's like one of his.
That's
We're going to
such a
see them in
weird
September.
fucking Song,
I
dude.
loved Paula Abdul's Cold Hearted Snake.
Yeah.
Probably more for the video.
Wow,
Than,
that kid, yeah, okay,
The-
fucking Paulo Abdul, hell yeah.
I was
Hell
like,
yeah,
"Whoa."
why not?
I just didn't know what I was doing with music. I knew I loved it, and I knew that like the church said there's a set of rules.
It sounds like you were just kind of absorbing everything that came to you. You know.
Everything. I mean, I wanted to be Michael W. Smith. Look him up
Nice.
someday, if you want. I just knew that music was important for some reason, and I wanted to be a part of it. But I really wanted to be famous.
Yeah.
So I would
that's
just like
always-
every
that's it,
first
man.
band was like, let's emulate this thing. And then I
Yeah.
got into ska, I got into punk, I was in a Christian ska band in Texas
Sick.
for
Wow.
a couple years, which is a subculture that is crazier than regular
Dude,
ska
That's
probably.
insane. Yeah. Well, and I know this is what the band we were talking about earlier was the Big News. Just through knowing them so well, because they came out here, recorded a record, and we've had them out here for shows, and they've just been awesome.
You guys like duct tape crosses to the slide of the trombones? and
Yes.
shit?
That kind of
That's
crazy
funny.
Hell
as
yeah.
fuck.
stuff.
But just knowing them, I know that there's so much more ska than just the average person thinks there. Like there's a
Still.
lot of it, and they're all
Still.
crazy and awesome. They're all like insanely
I see
talented
why, because it's
musicians.
fun as fuck. Dude.
It's fun as hell. Like the energy cannot be matched. I was in punk bands, indie pop bands, an Everly Brothers cover band.
Oh my god, you just did the whole spectrum.
I tried everything.
What age
until-
range was this?
So, punk would have been like my sophomore, junior year in high school. And then I went off to this acting school over the summer after I graduated because I thought, you could be an actor. Acting sucks.
Well,
I'm terrible. I was in community theater my whole life, so lots of musicals. And then at that acting school in Massachusetts, I met this dude named David, and he played this Indigo Girls song. Closer
Ooh.
I Am to Find, Closer
Okay.
to Find. I had no idea you could just like tell stories
like that, yeah.
Didn't have any idea. I thought it had to be like some
ballad,
bad
fucking,
cinematic
yeah.
thing, and you had to come up with all these deals. You
Yeah.
could literally just write about how you felt about stuff, and people would listen to it.
Do you
And
like all of
so-
Jeff Buckley or
Oh,
Jeff
gosh,
Buckley's?
yes.
All of his. Okay,
All-
Mm.
All that stuff. And I'm so glad you brought up Nick Drake.
those are like
like-
peak storytellers.
Just
Yeah.
and I'm not a huge Dylan fan
Hey man, honestly,
and
neither am I.
until until I saw him live. I've got this ongoing
Maybe that's
battle
what
with
I'm
a friend of
missing.
mine.
I don't know.
And he's like, "You got it." Dylan said, and Dylan said. I'm like, Dylan didn't, whatever. So he bought me a ticket to see Dylan in St. Louis at this opera house. And it blew my absolute mind. Now, I'm not going to go home and listen to a Dylan record. Just not going to happen. I've tried. I can't get through it. But to watch
being
that
there and
dude for
listen to it,
3
yeah.
hours,
Jesus.
nonstop, no breaks. There was no, "Hello, St. Louis. Goodbye. Thank you. Fuck you." There was nothing. No doody-doos, nothing. He literally came on stage in a spotlight. He didn't play guitar. He played piano the whole night, and he killed it for 3 hours.
Wow.
And then as I'm walking out the theater, his bus is already driving away. It's just like, this
Enigma.
guy,
Just
this
fucking-
guy's got
just
it down
with the
to a
wind.
science.
Yeah.
He's blowing in the wind, if you will.
Yeah. Oh.
But
Now I
So-
get that. Yeah, like early songwriting. Yeah, it's like back when I was in middle school, I feel like everything I had to write was like Sister Christian
Yeah.
by Night Ranger. Like that's
Oh,
what it had to be like.
dude,
But I still love that fucking
Well, I think that's
song.
how you start, though, right?
It's
You
'cause
got
it's
you got to
good.
start emulating
Yeah.
something because,
I
like,
just didn't know what. I hadn't found a voice. God, that sounds so dumb. I hadn't found my own voice yet.
yeah,
What a
but
great soundbite.
it is cheesy, but that's honestly the truth, you know.
I just knew I wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah,
And then in college, like early years of college, I was in like a Fish kind of like jam band.
yeah.
But then my roommate in college, this is probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
Super into Dave Matthews.
No, thank God. I've been to that concert too. And if
You're
Sue
in a
Sparks
Dave-
is listening out there, I'll
You're in a
never
Dave
forgive
Matthews safe space here. So
Yeah,
you, dude. But my roommate in college shows up, and I'm like, my parents dumped me at the thing. They're like, "Good luck to you. We're gonna go eat in town." I'm like, "Well, you want to see my
Fuck.
room?" And they're like, "No,
And then-
we've seen your room for like 18 years of your life. Just you'll make friends." And so my roommate just starts bringing up milk crate after milk crate after 100 milk crates full of albums, like
Whoa.
just
All Dave
vinyl.
Matthews.
No Dave Matthews.
bootlegs.
And this dude, he's got to have ADHD or something. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but it's like we couldn't get through a song because he was so excited to show me, like, because he's like, "What's your favorite song? What's your favorite band?" I'm like, I mean, I kind of like some
Right.
stuff, and Nirvana's kind of cool. He's like, "Oh, Nirvana, check this album out by Steve Albini. It's called Rape Men and Big Black." And we'd get 3/4 of the way through a song, and that album's off. And he's like, just pulling stuff I've never heard of. And that's all I
This
did.
is the
for-
first day.
Yeah.
You're just
Like,
"Oh,
first,
fuck."
I'm like, this guy's gonna be hard to live with. Smoked like a chimney. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink until then.
Yeah,
And I was like, to keep up with this guy,
C'est la vie,
I'm
I
gonna c'est la vie. So he really kind of opened my eyes to like what music was. He came out of Chicago, and there was just so much underground music that I'd never heard of before that I was like, I finally realized I can do whatever I want.
yeah.
I don't have to emulate anybody. There's 1,000 records in here, and each one of them sounds different, and each one has its own individual voice. And I don't have to be one of them. I could probably just do my own thing, and then that's kind of where I started, like veering off. And I just wanted to tell stories.
Yeah. So were you always writing stuff, or were you doing primarily covers in all those other bands, or was it kind of like your best imitation of what you now consider writing?
I've always written. My very first few songs I wrote with my brother. Skid marks in my underoos.
Nice.
Probably like age 10, 12. We also had Drowning Baby in a Bathtub.
A little bit dark.
Very dark. As a young kid, we had Little Debbie snatch cakes. which I didn't even know what that
What's
meant.
going on here?
I just
All
knew
I
that
got
was
was I went to the Spark and Plug, and all I got was plugged and a little Debbie snatch cake.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
so I've
Those
always
t-shirts are
been
gonna
writing.
sell, man.
You know, I've always written, and I've always wanted to tell stories. And so I try to sneak some of my originals into these bands that I've been in. And these sometimes came up short, but I love arranging. I love writing. I love telling stories. I love the idea that that music communicates a oneness with other people.
Yeah.
You know, we're all different ages. We're all got different socioeconomic statuses,
And backgrounds and all kinds of stuff.
but music, there's something really cool
Yeah.
when you play a song and someone afterwards is like, "Hey, that really spoke to me."
Yeah. They're like, that was badass. You
Yeah.
know, this is like, I can appreciate that. That sounds like a lot of work went into it. And it's like, a lot of work did go into it.
Work did go into it. I mean, I've written, I don't know, hundreds of songs, just dumb stuff too, like to girlfriends, you know, as a freshman,
You know, as you do.
as you do. But who wants to hear, like, "You're my world, my fantasy"? No one but you and me. I mean, no one wants to hear that. Her boyfriend didn't want to hear that. I can tell you that.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was the scariest night of my life.
Well, at least you tried it. You attempted.
I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? I mean, I know he's like a big, dark, and scary punk guy, but
I'm sensitive.
I've got feelings, and you probably
Yeah.
want to know about them.
Yeah.
She didn't.
Damn it.
No,
Fuck her.
she did not. And I
Dude,
don't
it's pretty cool that you even started, that you did so many bands, you know? It's
I
like
was
a lot of
trying to
people,
count.
they were just like, you know, I started playing guitar and then you know,
Oh.
and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just, I don't know. It seems like when we were younger, we were in quote unquote bands.
You're
But,
right.
you know, like, I don't even think we could put a label like, oh, this was a punk band. We just got together in some random garages every now and then, you know, and just made bad noises, you know?
Which I think is kind of important. And I
It's definitely
wish-
got to be an important developmental, you know, part of
I
being
wish
a
kids would do
musician.
it more. I can't say that they're not. I'm sure they are, but I think they're probably on a phone and they're doing DJ stuff.
You know, it does seem kind of like a bygone, maybe a little bit of a bygone era.
Yeah.
There's dragging loops and a shit.
Yeah.
Being like,
It's like,
Get off your damn computers.
I'm an engineer.
But you know, it's like nothing like
click and
tests
drag.
like how big your balls are than like I think it was junior maybe, and I probably weighed about 120 soaking wet as a junior in high school, and I kind of looked pretty feminine. I had like long, beautiful. Oh man, let me just think about it for a minute. Beautiful golden locks, and I was in this punk band, and we are gonna play the song "Moo Moo Moo, Cows Have Rights Too." Which I think we wrote at McDonald's, probably like eating burgers, like, "Whoa, we should say something crazy." But like somebody, and I want to blame Josh probably, but somebody right before, because it's like a talent show for high school, right before the curtain opened, one of us was like, "We should do this shirtless."
Fantastic idea.
And everyone was like, "Yeah, we should.
Oh,
That's a great idea." I remember the curtain opened. It was like this total silence from the crowd, except for one, like, oh. It's just like, I'm pretty sure it's
Cows have rights too.
that's kind of how the song, that's almost moo, 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 no, 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 no. Cows have rights too. And I never felt
More masculine.
Oh,
like a god.
dude, I was not considered the cool,
is
big,
hilarious.
tough guy in school. But like in that moment, music and just expressing yourself in a way that like no one had seen in my little hometown before, I could have done anything.
Hell yeah.
And I
man.
wouldn't have cared.
Oh, so all the crowd is like the quintessential movie bad talent show crowd, like all the like
Yeah.
the old dudes with like the black rim glass, and they're all like have the Bibles in their
Yeah.
hands.
Oh,
and
for
shit. It's
sure. They're like, "Oh, this is a disgrace.
Yeah.
My taxes, public school. See what happens?" It's like,
Playing this devil music.
yeah. Oh, for sure.
That's crazy,
That was
man.
that was another place that I learned to write songs was church camp. My parents would go on
Yeah.
vacation every year together without us.
Yeah,
three
they'd be
kids.
like, hey, you're going to church camp.
And I'm like, well, how come we never get to go on vacation? And I'm like, well,
Those are
church,
just smart
church
parents.
camp is your vacation.
Those are just smart parents
Yeah,
right
True.
there.
Yeah.
True. That's probably how they stay married. I mean, but I learned all the praise songs. I learned about harmonies. I learned about stories. I learned about drawing people.
Man, that is
in.
stuff that you'd never appreciate at the time, but it's only
didn't.
like 15 years later that you're like, I'm so glad I learned that stuff
sure.
because it turns out to be an extremely effective tool at communicating not only what you want when you're in a studio, but also when you're writing a song and you can kind of think ahead and be like, oh, it would sound great if I did this here with this, this other chord on top of it, or, do this harmony here or whatever. Because it's kind of underutilized, because people just don't realize that's what they're learning in choir or anything like that.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I just thought like I have to do this.
Right.
I have an elective, and my parents said I got to do music. So
yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll do that. But I was learning and absorbing that whole time. And I don't know, I love to tell stories. And I think I don't know that my songs are the reason people come to see me play. I really think sometimes it's the stories in between songs.
Yeah.
That people are like, oh, I hope he tells that one about the Playboy pinball machine, or or I hope that he says something off the wall or crass.
Yeah, I mean I mean, I don't know. You're entertainment, because it's just it's how people view it. Art and entertainment falls under that into a subcategory of its own underneath art, and I don't know. And music's there too, and they all kind of hold hand in hand together. All that good stuff. And
if you can get that marriage just right, I'm sure you guys have seen shows where you walk away and you're like, that was like an experience.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah.
And you're not exactly sure what they did or how they did it. You just know that something happened in that hour, those 2 hours, where something takes over and you just feel this thing outside of yourself.
Yeah.
And
well, it's how they, it's kind of similar to when you saw Bob Dylan. I went and saw Springsteen up at BOK.
Oh, jealous.
Well, and I had real low expectations going into it.
Whoa, hold on there, partner.
Dude, man, he's old. You know what I mean? And he's like, dude's an old guy. And I'd watched some clips leading up to that, like his, I'd watched like his, he did that like Broadway play kind of deal, or like he had a thing where this is like a storyteller session thing where he'd like do acoustic stuff and then he'd tell stories about the songs and what inspired it. And and he just looked like the world had just beat him with a stick. And
really,
yeah, man, he looked rough in those clips, and they'd been filmed like whatever
10 years prior.
Well, like 3 or 4 years ago, So I was like, oh,
this guy's been dead forever.
Dude, he sweated and burned his ass off for like 3 hours.
That's what I've heard.
Dancing across stage, like choreography shit, was counting everything off. He was running around. It was one of the most entertaining shows I've ever seen. And like I was like blown away. I've seen, people in their 20s that don't have near as good stage presence, and it's just like the experience of being such a great performer, and being able to connect with people like that. Obviously, it's a muscle that if you keep working at it, you get better and better and better. And at that, and there's some people that are just masters of it, like Bob Dylan, or you see him live, and it's just kind of like you're completely different than the entire experience, all of it adding together, and I was up in the fucking nosebleeds, like
just
not
like
even
a little ant,
man. Yeah, not even. I mean, BOK is pretty good. Like if you're not in the very last row, you can still kind of see people. It's okay, but it was still, I was far away, and I was still like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like he's doing the solos still and stuff, and like zoom in on his hands, and they look like they'd injected him with salt water. They were all swollen and stuff, and he was still like just ripping shit. And
just
it was
cortisone
awesome, man.
shots right before he goes on.
Probably, man.
Here we go.
They just wheel him around in a coffin with like IV hooked up to him.
You got one more night in you?
Yeah.
I do.
Like, Bruce, wake up. He's like,
yeah. What? Yeah.
Exactly. Bring me the blood of a virgin. I got one more night.
Yeah, exactly. They just picked up some little 18-year-old off the Hollywood Strip and swapped their souls or injected her soul into his.
He's someone I've always wanted to see.
Man, I mean, I don't know, dude, it was, and like I said, I didn't have very high expectations. The guy's just I mean, what? He's in his 70s, right, or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
he's got to be
Maybe
like
close to 80?
74,
Imagine
5.
seeing him in the 80s, dude. I bet he was fucking crazy.
Oh.
I mean, dude, it's just
dude.
insane, you know.
Fucking-
Well, you can go back and like watch the No Nukes concert and stuff on YouTube and
But
shit.
you
And
can
yeah, he's like,
experience it, man.
he's crazy. Yeah, he's awesome. And yeah, if you haven't listened to that little Broadway play thing he did, it's pretty interesting because he just talks about. He kind of goes through some of his biggest songs all on acoustic in chronological order for when they were released, and in between each song, he just talks about like, this is what was happening in the world, this is why I wrote it, and this is how I came about writing it, and like, I really love my favorite album of his is "Darkness on the Edge of Town."
Damn it.
Nebraska.
I was gonna say. I was hoping he was gonna say
Man,
Nebraska.
Well, I do like Nebraska, but "Darkness on the Edge of Town," I love that album. Man.
I'm not gonna argue either one.
I love that album.
But Nebraska told me like, oh, a guitar and a voice.
Mm.
Cool.
That's true, man.
Sometimes a harmonica.
Fucking wrote it on like an 8-track.
Yeah,
Recorded
like
it
in
on
his
8-track,
house.
And the label was like, I think they wanted to re-record it.
No,
And-
yeah,
and
that
they-
whole
and they
story
tried to
behind there is
re-record it,
crazy.
And Bruce Springsteen and his producer was like, nah, man, we can't do this.
We can't
shit.
do
Like,
that.
this-
He fought tooth and nail to get that released the
Yeah.
way he did it in the hotel room, just like with
On
that
like an
little
8-track or
yeah. That
something.
You know what he
8-track.
didn't have? A Scarlet.
Oh, fuck. Ari Hest did. Are you feeling with Ari Hest?
No.
Yeah, he's a pretty famous singer-songwriter guy, and he was waiting for his album to release, and he wrote a whole nother, I think it's either an EP or an album, but it's called like the Green Room Sessions, and it's all done on a 2-channel Focusrite interface.
It's
with,
just
like,
an advertisement for
GarageBand.
Scarlet.
dude,
You're
like
kidding
literally
me.
some of his songs, like he does a Little Lies cover from Fleetwood Mac, and it sounds fucking awesome. I mean, the dude's got it mixed by other people and shit, but I mean, yeah, he did it all on like a little Focusrite 2-channel.
That's cool, man.
I think that's one thing I'm learning as I'm 50 now, is I thought in my 20s it had to be a thing where it had to be a giant studio. It had to be like the best producers. It had to be the best musicians. It had to be to make a record.
Yeah.
But what I'm learning doing it myself
Not
is that
necessarily.
not really. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes some of the biggest magic happens when you're just by yourself and it's 2 a.m. and everybody's asleep.
And you're fucking tired, and you're like, I just got to get this
beat.
thing out of me, whatever it is.
It's crazy, and I wish that someone had told me like early on, like, hey, there's no set of rules for this whole music
Right.
deal. Just go do the thing you love doing, and I promise you, it's going to be okay. But I think I wasted a lot of years. And maybe not wasted. I was being informed.
Searching
but,
for some kind of formula
Yeah,
that
like,
didn't really exist.
this is how it's supposed to be, right? But no, how it's supposed to be is you have a song, and by any means necessary, you put it out. And if that's you and your Focusrite and GarageBand, great. If
Hell
it's
yeah.
me here at this awesome studio, which we should plug,
Thank you. Yes, Bison Tail Studios.
then you should
Yeah.
do that. I guess maybe the biggest thing is like, this sounds so cheesy, but the journey getting there and finding your voice is pretty important.
Sometimes, more important than the destination.
And I hate all that like hippy dippy like mantra stuff.
Yeah, but it's
I
been around for
hate
so
it.
long. It's a cliche because it's been around and it's true. you
And
know?
it's super true. It's like, if you'd asked me like, can you record an album? I would have said no. But I did. And it doesn't really matter to me whether it's well received or whether it's popular. A lot of it is like the last time that I sent my last file out to be mastered, it was just like the sense of relief.
Mhm.
I didn't even care. I didn't care at that point, like what
Yeah.
it sounded like. I was just like, it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. And I did something that I set out to do. And I hope to encourage young musicians all across the world.
Form AC/DC cover bands. Bring them back.
Do something. Who cares? We used to try to mix it with cassettes. We'd get like a couple of boom boxes or whatever they're called now, but
Ghetto blasters.
ghetto blasters.
Yeah.
I don't think we were allowed to say ghetto blasters
No,
in my house.
But there's a kind of infamous video in
Ghetto.
my family of like my mom and her two brothers, my uncles, opening Christmas presents when they were like 6, 7 or whatever, and my uncle he opens up a boombox and he's like, I and everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
What the
Get
hell
her.
is
It's like,
that?
we
What
don't
the
normally
boxer
like
get?
ghettos, but we like these boxers.
Jesus.
But we would mix on those. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, and if we didn't have money for cassettes, it's like we'd erase what was on there, pull that little tab, and just erase over what's going on. And you're like, okay, so play this part, and that's then put it in this one, and then play another part, and then put it in this one, and then play. It's just like, I hope children have something like that today that they can.
I mean, I think maybe GarageBand and
Yeah,
similar
something
kind
like
of
that,
tools
yeah.
like that. It feels a little less hands-on-y, maybe. Because there's, I don't know, maybe that's part of it. It's kind
It's a
of
lot less work.
yeah. It feels like a little less elbow grease involved, but
These kids today are not built. They're just not built for elbow grease. They're not.
No, they got them soft hands, boy.
What do you mean?
Soft
I
hands,
gotta
boy.
buy a cassette and I gotta do a thing and can I just push a button?
it's like what
Why
you-
can't I
is-
just subscribe to it?
Yeah. Ain't there an app?
yeah.
Which is fine. I don't mean to discourage them, but good Lord.
No, man, fuck them kids, man.
We used to run out of church, and we would keep the little ghetto blaster in the car with a cassette, a blank cassette, and we'd run out of church because if you could time it right, you can get the last 3 songs of 𝙀𝙥𝙞𝙨𝙤𝙀 Top 40.
After church,
While my parents were like saying, have a nice week and
Happy Jesus.
Happy
All right,
Jesus,
here's
blessed
number
be
3
you.
on the top 40 for this week.
Oh,
Get in the
we're
top
like,
40.
record,
Number 3.
Yeah.
record, and so that's.
Ice, baby. You're,
Oh.
oh, fuck yeah.
Hey, I want to say something. I've seen Vanilla Ice twice.
What? You haven't seen Springsteen, but you've seen Vanilla Ice twice? What the hell?
Which doesn't make sense when
Weird
you see the video of
priorities.
what I played tonight. That's not going to make sense. But that guy
Myrtle Beach.
was an amazing evening of entertainment.
No
Did
shit.
he just do Ice Ice Baby and go Ninja Turtle Go?
What's great is the first time I saw him, he opened with Ice Ice Baby, and then he did an encore with Ice Ice Baby.
straight.
Oh
he
my
did.
God.
And I can't remember a single thing.
In between.
You don't
in
need
between.
to.
No.
You're
It
right here
was-
saying it was awesome.
Henry Van Winkle or whatever his name was. Like, that guy deserves some credit of some sort. Like, he awakened in me some.
he's like a champion jet skier.
Come on.
For real?
I'm dead
Is that a
serious. Like,
thing?
he's in jet. He was in jet ski races. Like he's really fucking good.
Not
at
to
it.
stereotype, but he definitely looks like the guy that would be
no,
like a
dude,
champion
he
jet
looked
skier.
like the fucking beach bully in a movie or
What?
some shit.
You're going
know?
to tell
That's
me
true.
Riff Raff is a champion
Dude,
jet
I'm
skier
serious.
too?
Look at it. He was a.
I'm
fucking,
looking this
he
up.
He was a champion jet skier.
I know that what he made me do
He
is
was fucking badass, dude.
I was a freshman in college, and what he made me do was go cut my hair into a fade
Incredible.
with. I'm sure there's pictures.
Man, you
but
just commit to shit. Dude.
I
You
have
just
a
fucking- you
line
just
that
do
goes
it.
like from here into this weird.
Oh yeah, the little cut,
Yeah.
the little cut
Oh,
along
fuck.
the hell
And
yeah.
so
man.
I had this this African American guy at our college cut my hair. He's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Oh, I need like a rapper's haircut." He's like,
Mhm. Are you sure about that?
"You understand? Like that's not how it works, right?" I'm like, "I don't care. Put the line. Give me the fade." And Darius, I think that was his name.
cut on the eyebrows.
He was just like, "I'm gonna line you up, son." And I had the worst haircut you've ever seen on a human being because it was like a flat top.
Well, did you realize that in the moment, or were you like, "This is badass"? It wasn't
Oh,
until
I
you,
thought it
like,
was
reflected.
amazing. And dude, I wore these silk shirts with like prints and a chain. I didn't care.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God,
I'd
dude.
walk down the streets of Olney, Illinois, just like
Is this like Night at the Roxbury
I
type
was like,
stuff?
yeah, it's like well, yes. We had a breakdancing
Yeah.
group. I was Big Mac McKinney.
oh my god.
We had
You're just the
cardboard.
gift that keeps on giving, dude.
Dude.
Like,
We carried our cardboard down. We'd throw it down in front of like Ace Hardware or whatever, and just be like, "Oh."
You
I'd
went
pop
through like
lock and drop
15
it.
different
You pop lock
personalities
and
in like
drop.
6 years.
It's why my mom, I think, is so tired. She
Gordon, I'm
Is this like
son.
is this like a scene out of Clerks where you guys are just like on the side of a shitty
oh
building?
for
just like,
sure, dude.
Motherfucking time.
You know, I will say, as much as my parents were like very like,
Oh we oh.
Jungle Love.
That's a good song.
It is. He's like, the
Oh.
motherfucking time.
Dude,
More stay in the motherfucker.
bring me a mirror. I would have been all about it. But as much as my parents were like very like kind of strict about a lot of things as far as work and family and Jesus and all that stuff, they did, and to their credit, they did support any crazy idea that I had, as long as it
that's
wasn't
awesome.
satanic.
Like,
Like the
As
movie.
long as it wasn't Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh God, no. And I let my
breakdancing?
youngest breakdancing.
Oh, yeah.
They were like all about it. They're like, you need cardboard? I'll call Gary at Whirlpool.
like,
He'll
"This
get you
is
a
so
refrigerator
neat."
box. And
but
you
you
know,
could have been doing Dungeons and Dragons.
no,
That was a hard line.
it's like no. That's Satan right there. And you know, like when Ghostbusters came out, this python got loose in our hometown, and so my
Did that have
friends
to do with Ghostbusters?
hold on.
What the
Oh, okay, yeah.
Check
my
this
bad.
out. So my friends and I all went to the Salvation Army, Goodwill thrift store, and we found these like coveralls. You know, we made these Snake Busters patches
Oh my!
because it was like a citywide thing. Like this 12-foot python has been,
Please lock your doors.
Yeah.
Secure your small children
if
under
you
the age
happen
of
to
8.
see.
No small pets.
And so we tore apart our mother's vacuums and put them on backpacks.
The ecto blaster, or
Blaster
whatever.
thing. We were like, we had hoses
around,
and like anything we could find that looked like a thing. And we were just wandering the streets of Olney with these Snake Busters patches.
Something strange.
Oh, in your neighborhood. Oh, that's a good song. Ray Parker Jr.
Busters.
Snake Busters. I mean, so I'm glad in that way that like my parents encouraged me to express myself as long as it wasn't satanic or witchcraft. Yeah, and even
Wizardry.
so, we played in our Christian ska band. We played at a church over in St. Louis. My parents were like 3 hours away, and they showed up.
Wow.
And there's this basement of a church, and all these kids with like mohawks and crossed eyes, and just like
And your,
But
and
you
your
guys just
parents
love
are just
Jesus.
back there in the
yeah,
back.
my
like,
parents. My dad's like in a Hawaiian shirt. He's like, not a bad set, GW. Yeah, they
so
call
it goes
me
out to my
GW.
mom.
So how did you guys incorporate God into like the ska lyrics? Was it like
Man, so sometimes we would just take like an old hymn or something and just put it to like a ska beat and,
Oh,
and
okay.
sing that. Or we'd talk about, our big thing was like social justice. You know, like homelessness was a big one. We went to this church
Cows on their rights.
in Waco, Texas.
wait
That-
a minute?
Yeah.
What,
I was,
when was
the
this
Christian
still-
ska band was
did
in,
this still
in Waco,
happen to me
Texas
around like 95?
a year after. In 96.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I knew you looked familiar.
In this church called
I think
Church Under the
the ATF
Bridge.
is looking for you.
And they met underneath an overpass on 35, and they would just provide services for homeless people.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, the church I grew up with didn't like homeless people. This seems more
Churchy.
church. Well, this seems more right. Like, and so they didn't have a building. They just met under the overpass, and we
What they need
watched.
is some ska music.
What they need is punk rock ska music,
And you
and
boys give it to him.
we just gave it to them hard. And so I was really, I
Great
was,
minds think alike.
I was very into it for a long time.
Jinx, you owe me a PBR.
So, you know, to their credit, I'm glad they encouraged me. You know, they encouraged me in community theater. They encouraged me in music. They encouraged me to tell the truth, which is hard now at 50. My dad's gone. My mom's by herself. Sometimes my songs, they tell the truth, and I think it might hurt my mom's feelings a little bit.
Sometimes the truth's kind of brutal.
Yeah, and it's not because it's I have a complaint against her or my life, but it's just that
But that's just reality.
You're
man.
expressing yourself. you
it's
know?
not the thing that she thought it was. You know, in her
Right.
brain, I'm working a full-time job. We own a small business. I'm doing the best I can, and you know, my experience was different,
Well, yeah. Well,
that.
and like, you know, that both could be true, you know.
and they're both true.
yeah.
And I feel bad sometimes. Like she's come to see me play, and I'll play something, and I can just see like
A lot of emotion.
She's trying so hard to just like be there for me as a person.
Yeah.
You know, in her brain, I'm this little boy that, in her mind, she protected and she did the best she could, and it's hard to hear. And having kids of my own, like having them tell me things about the way I've parented.
Yeah. Kind of see where she's coming from.
Yeah, now I'm like, oh, that does sting a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Well, man, you know.
Yeah, but even parents are just people trying to figure shit out. You know?
no one tells you how to do it.
Adults are just big children still trying to get shit figured
yeah.
out. So
You never.
you go through that phase, but
there's
then you
no
forgive
guarantee.
your parents later. You're like, you know what? You're just trying the best you could.
Yeah, exactly.
What you
There's
had.
no guarantee. You know, you never stop learning. You know,
No.
it's all you're always constantly changing the way you've done things before and stuff. And sometimes them kids, they know exactly how to push your buttons.
Dude, it's like they have this secret message from the universe, like, hey, you want to really see Dad get pissed?
You thought you had shit figured out? Well, check this out. You didn't think 2 sentences could make you want to hurl a human being through a window?
Oh, man.
Let's shoot out this window with our BB gun. That'll really piss him the fuck
Yeah.
off.
Well,
You know? It's not like he's already. It's not like he's already pissed off, working 12 goddamn hours, mowing the yard in July heat. I'm gonna shoot the window out. I'm gonna shoot.
While I'm sitting in here fucking around with GarageBand, God damn it.
Right.
I'm gonna shoot out his truck window because I was aiming for his hubcaps. True story.
And then be like, I don't know why you're so mad. You're so mean to me.
No, dude, I ran and blockaded my room with some like just some random shit, and he like fucking opened the door. Was like, the fuck is that? Hey, fucker! And I was like, oh shit, it didn't hold him. Like, yeah, of course he was. Yeah, he was like, what the fuck
some
were
cardboard
you
boxes and stuff.
I was just shooting your hubcaps. Why the fuck were you shooting my hubcaps? I was like,
Because it makes a cool sound.
yeah, it was kind of cool.
It's like, bow, and then we get to watch it like fly off somewhere.
I didn't understand bullet drag at the time. I didn't have that shit figured out when I was 8. I wasn't fucking Army Corps snipe. So the farther I was back, the more it'd go, and so I was like, oh, maybe I need to aim a little bit higher. But then
Like at his window.
yeah,
I was aimed there
because I started realizing that it would drop, but I didn't realize that like the distance when it would, I didn't figure out. I wasn't good at the math shit yet. So I was like, okay, but if I stand farther away, maybe I should aim really high so I can hit the hubcap.
Oh,
Yeah, and then it was
this,
just like,
this sounds bad.
yeah, my sister saw it, and I remember her face, and she was like, "Oh,
She
you're
rat you
so
out?
Fucked." Oh shit, yeah, she did. She
What
was
a...
She was like, "You are so fucked." Well, this is coming off this was after. I think I told the story on the last podcast.
Oh, where
with,
you shot her in the back of the
Do
leg.
you remember, the pellet
You were a
guns,
menace with those
the
things,
pellet
with those
guns that
guns,
you pump
dude.
multiple times.
Yeah, how many
Well,
times you pump it?
I pumped it to where I was like,
No,
got it.
no.
He asked the right question. He's like, how many times you pumping?
And I fucking aimed it at her. I shot her on the. It had a little bit of kickback, and she folded like a lawn. She folded like a lawn chair, man. She like that. And so fuck yeah, she ratted on me, dude. She had a smile on her face. I do remember that. She was like, "You're
of
so
course.
fucked."
It's like...
My dad had to drive around with a fucking like blanket on his fucking window for a week. He was so fucking pissed, man.
And that's the thing. It's like you don't realize that stuff.
And looking back at it, I was like, "Oh, dude, I'd be so pissed too."
I
I'd
would
go
be
to- I
mad.
had to go to work with that shit, and it's like, you motherfucker.
It's like, what happened? And then you got to explain to your coworkers your kid's a piece of shit.
Your kid's a
It's like,
fucking
without
idiot. Yeah.
without also saying, "Oh, my kid's a piece of shit."
Right. You're like, well,
no.
they was playing with guns
Yeah.
like they do.
You don't want him to be like, "Oh, so you're a shit dad."
No,
you
but
know,
you-
you're just like, check this out. My shit ass kid shot a fucking.
That's what you
can't
say
even.
to those you got that one coworker where you're like, "Nah, my kid was just being a fucking idiot."
Yeah, and
You
they're
stupid
like,
"Fuck."
"No, I understand that, man."
Yeah.
Yep.
They never have kids though.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. They're like,
They-
I can imagine that.
They
Yeah.
never
Well, that's
have
how
kids.
I am with Dylan. So yeah, I don't have that kid yet.
You're like, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'm just like, I mean, my cats piss me off too sometimes. You know,
Oh,
fuckers. Hey, when they piss everywhere too, shitheads.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, not the same.
I think that's the stuff that I want to talk about in songs. That kind of thing. We've all, no matter where we're from,
that universal feeling. Yeah.
that universal feeling of fear of your parents,
Not
of
holding the
disappointing
flashlight
them.
right for your dad.
Oh,
Yeah. Hold it still.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like, oh, how much more still
fuck,
can I
man,
get?
I don't know what you're
mean,
looking at. Yeah.
Give me the doodad.
Dude, if
Yeah.
you were
The
so
doodad.
good, we'd have been
Yeah.
done 10 minutes ago and my arm wouldn't hurt. And I just lost a tooth because he just punched me in the
Yeah,
face.
for saying that. Yeah.
Do your parents pull your teeth out? Speaking of losing a
Oh
teeth.
yeah, oh yeah. I had
Yeah,
They-
yeah.
they
There's been a
do
couple
that all
times.
tied it
weird
around
stuff.
and
Yeah. They thought that was funny.
My
shit.
my parents tried for a little bit, and I had some that just wouldn't come out, and my grandma was like, I'm not taking no for an answer. So she tried everything, man. She'd get back there with pliers.
Oh.
And I was,
Jesus.
yeah.
You're like, Grandma, that's not a baby tooth.
Well,
that's my real ass
that's
adult
a real
tooth.
wrong
I'm like,
tooth.
whatever, I'm like 10 or what, I'm like, stop, I don't want. She's like, open your mouth a little wider.
Quit being a baby.
Yeah, exactly. Stop. I'm just pulling out. It's loose anyway. I'm
Drink
like,
some
"It
of
ain't
this
that
whiskey,
loose."
you'll be fine. Yeah. Switch that around. Like, oh.
Man, that tooth, one of those
Take a draw off his
teeth she was
palm
trying
off.
to pull out, I had to go in and get surgery, take it out because the root on it was like 2 inches long.
Man, that
Went
makes
all the
my
way back.
stomach
They had to
hurt.
cut open my gums and stuff she was trying to yank that thing out with some pliers.
That makes
some
my stomach hurt
rusty ass.
so bad.
pliers.
What's going on here, man?
I don't know. I mean, at the time, I was like, oh, this is what grandmas do. But I was like,
They do.
dang, grandma, you rip out my damn teeth with some rusty ass pliers, like shit.
Give me
Pour
my
some beer
sewing
on it,
shears.
disinfect it,
Oh yeah, rub some little whiskey on your gums or
Yeah, whatever, something like
Yeah.
that.
oh, God damn.
Gordon, where once you got out of college, did you keep up playing?
I did. Well, I was asked to leave college.
Oh, okay.
I didn't do so good. And in those days, that would have been about like 95. The internet was not what it is, and I had met a young lady on a chat room.
Oh boy.
This is back before like pictures on the internet. This
Right.
is just literally.
So it was an actual lady?
Well, thankfully, yes.
Okay.
And so
You didn't get catfished.
Oh, this is like pre-catfish. I don't think
pre-cat. This
people,
is like,
people didn't have the idea of that yet.
and I kind of had
It's
an
a little more
inkling
innocent.
that I wasn't going to be asked to come back, and so we would write letters to each other, like actual snail mail,
Right.
back and forth, and actual pictures back and forth. And I went home on, I guess it would have been winter break, and my brother, we were having a bonfire with my family, and my brother, who went to the same college as I did,
Mhm.
he comes out of the bonfire. He's like, "Hey, follow me inside. I need to talk to you." I was like,
That's
"Uh-oh,
ominous.
because he was the troublemaker. He was the baby that could get away with anything.
Mm-hmm.
Anything. My mom and dad were just like in their eyes,
Just blind.
just hearts, just big dumb cartoon hearts. That guy, heart of gold. So we get in the kitchen. He's like, "Hey, I thought this letter was for me, but it's for you. And the college has asked you not to return for some dubious shit that I did."
Dubious, devious.
And that. And so I was like, oh, damn. And I was supposed to go visiting this girl in Texas that I had met on the relay chat. I'm like, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go down to Texas. I'm gonna meet this girl, and I'm gonna stay there.
Oh my God.
Don't tell mom and dad. He's
I can
like,
already tell you this story ain't gonna work out.
yeah, whoo boy. So I got on the bus, went to Texas. Didn't tell my parents. They thought I was back in college.
Oh shit.
I was not. I was flipping burgers at a place in Texas, living with this girl whose parents didn't know I was living with her.
How did that work? Oh, I assume she wasn't living with her parents.
No,
Okay.
she was going to Baylor University.
Okay.
And so I lived there. That's when I got with the ska band and the
Okay,
punk
okay.
rockers and I just wound up staying there. Like 6 months into my tenure there in Texas, I write my parents this letter like, "Dear Mom and Dad,
I'm in Texas.
as you probably have figured out, I'm in Texas and I'm super in love and I'm doing this thing and God's called me to do.
Oh, you're nice.
Pulled
You
the
need
one
turn.
and you
I'm not
pulled-
dumb.
Pushing
I'm
all
no
the buttons.
dummy,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I was raised in the church. I knew what to say. I said all the things. And they were like, wish you told us, but God bless you. Do your thing. Come see us. So I was there for a couple of years, and then she graduated and got a job at St. Louis University. So I moved to St. Louis
Nice.
with one of my bandmates, and then we started making this like post indie pop kind of 2-part harmony Weezer-ish
Okay, that's cool.
stuff. Did that for several years. Met another guy.
Out of curiosity, what was that project called?
Do you guys watch Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
Or did you?
Yeah.
There's a skit. I don't know how old it is now, but the whole skit was about the day that Gerald Ford, the president, dies. He's not died yet, but it's this news anchor, and he's giving all the possibilities about how Gerald Ford could die. And it's just one after the other. And me and this guy in this band were just howling. We're like, we have to call the band Gerald Ford Died. So I was in a little indie pop band called Gerald Ford Died. We put out a record. Didn't go anywhere. And then I met a couple of local St. Louis musicians who I played on and off with. My partner went and married a girl in Colorado, never to be seen again. And then I was in a band called the Patsies, kind of like flowery, dark, indie, what do they call it? Nasal gazing,
Okay.
shoegazing,
Like
kind
shoegazing
of
kind of. Okay.
stuff. Wrote an album with that guy, and then I met another guy, and we did kind of like storytelling, pop folk stuff
Yeah.
in St. Louis. I think I was there from like 95 to 2014.
Oh wow, they're a long time.
I was there a long time. I friggin' love St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
I would go back there in a heartbeat.
I've only been to St. Louis once, and it was to. What's the biggest college there? I went to a college football.
Washington University or St. Louis University, SLU, the Billikens.
Maybe is there like a Northern Missouri or something like that?
Yeah,
Is there something like that? It's like the Bears or something like that.
Oh.
Anyways, it was something. It was a football game. I did like kind of like a freelance sports statistic thing, and this
Yeah.
was probably, 5 years ago or something like that. But
St. Louis is great.
I was only up there briefly, but it was really cool.
I would not. I got married when I was in Texas. We came to St. Louis. We got married, had a couple of kids, and that all didn't work out, and for good reason, and for the best of everyone. But St. Louis is a great music town. I wouldn't want to raise kids there at the moment.
Yeah.
And then, thankfully, now this, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but my ex-wife wanted to move to Oklahoma because her now husband, is a professor at the university at OU. So,
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to move to Oklahoma. St. Louis is my home now, and it's great. But we have kids. And
Yeah, you want to see them.
I want to
Yeah.
see them, and we have custody, and okay, I'll go. I'll
Yeah.
go. Moving to Oklahoma is by far the best decision I have ever made in my life.
What's the music scene like compared to each other? I mean, are they vastly different? I mean, is it like apples to oranges deal?
Yes,
Okay.
vastly different. And I think if
I'm sure
you're
each one has its own real unique ecosystem. Stuff
there's
like
some
that.
cool stuff going on in St. Louis, but if I were a jazz musician, a blues musician, I'd move to St. Louis.
Really?
If I'm a songwriter, folk singer, storyteller, Oklahoma is where it's at.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't even think about any of that because I was just like, I just want to see my kids and have a life with them.
Do you think the crowds are pretty vastly different?
Yeah, I think you're going to have a rough time in St. Louis.
Yeah.
You bet. It's got such a rich blues and jazz culture. You better be something special.
I was going to say, if you ain't the cream of the crop, then it's like,
get out.
yeah.
Go
People
work
are
your
used to
chops
seeing the
somewhere
best.
else.
Yeah.
Big names. We want to hear someone who can sing 5 octaves. We want to hear someone who can blow a horn like you've never heard
Yeah.
before.
All while shredding on the guitar.
Right.
Yeah.
But here, not that people don't want good quality music, but here,
Expectations are just a little different. Or maybe
just-
taste are just a little different.
taste is a little different. It's a little slower. People are slower to judge. People are more open to opportunity. People are more open to like something a little different.
And you're down in Norman, right?
I'm
Like that's
down in
kind of your home
Norman.
base.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the cornerstone for everything. You know, not red, not I guess explicitly red dirt. I
Yeah.
guess Stillwater takes that crown, but you know, Norman's like that.
It's a great
That other
little spot in the middle of Oklahoma that I think, I mean, it could do better in some ways.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But, you know, I have never met this many songwriters in one place. People who really care about the craft of songwriting, people who really care about one another, people who really help each other out. It's like I got this gig we're doing now because Brad Fielder,
Right.
you know, was like, hey, you should check this out. I put your name out there. And that's something I think bigger cities, bigger towns
Kind of lack. Yeah.
I mean, once you
There's
get
definitely a feel of camaraderie. That's for sure.
For sure.
It seems like that. Everybody we have out here, it's like, oh, you know this person, I know that person, I know that person, and I know his sister who's like the owner of this place, and they're like super cool, and you should go. You know, it's all
crazy.
You know, world gets smaller the more people you know.
And that's what I love about it. And I did not want to move here. Like no one ever wakes up as a kid and is like,
Can't
as soon
wait
as
to
I
live in
can, I'm going to
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Well, you can say that same about like Milwaukee or like literally any fucking city other than like New York City.
Yeah.
Or like Los Angeles or Seattle or like
I want
the
to go to
big
LA,
ones are like
Chicago,
maybe Dallas, or Miami.
Dallas, something. But,
Nobody's fucking moving to Louisville.
like I can't wait to get to Norman. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ugh." But I'm so glad, dude. Like the music community here is so incredibly supportive.
Yeah.
And intertwined in more ways than one. I mean, it's like you're saying, it's like there's people whose sister owns a thing and runs a deal, but her husband also works for so and so and he does a thing.
Yeah.
And
No, it just keeps going
it
amazingly.
keeps going and going and going. And it at first I thought, well, Oklahoma's kind of like a gatekeeping state.
In a couple ways, like
especially
you know,
Oklahoma City. That's what I thought. But I soon realized it really wasn't. It wasn't people in Oklahoma City keeping me from getting gigs. It was me.
Yeah, well, I was about to say it's really, man, just getting into those places and just speaking to the people. And most of the 99 times out of 100, most of those people are pretty chill.
Pretty cool.
And they're pretty open, pretty receptive to whatever it is you're inadvertently. You always seem when you meet different people like that, and I say like that, people who may be the booking person for a particular venue or something like that. It always kind of feels like you have to, you're almost trying to pitch them something. But the more you get out there and actually talk, the more you just learn to approach people and just say like, hey, I'm so-and-so, you know, this is what I do. This, you know, what do you do? You know, and you can just have a conversation with them. And then it's
a
like
much different
a couple
thing.
months later, you're like, hey, I'm friends with him on Facebook. Who would I contact if I wanted to book something?
People are cool about that.
Easy.
They just let you know. You know, they have this big thing at JJ's Alley, and it's just like a open mic deal. And I've been going up there and going up there and going up there, and I've seen all these amazing people like Blake Langford and Ben Brock, and I could go on, but I was like, I don't understand why I can't get gigs around town. And Blake ran the open mic there, and I had this really big chip on my shoulder. It could be like just off the end of a divorce, just moving to Oklahoma, and I maybe I just felt bitter, but it would make me so mad because like the football games would be on, and I'm trying to friggin' play, bro, and no one's paying attention, and I had no problem at that point in time just stopping mid song and being like, if people were talking, just saying something like, "Hey, could you shut the fuck up?"
Yeah.
That's a terrible way to go about business, but that's
definitely. But you know, it's
so
easy to let it eat you.
frustrating.
You know, it's
like,
easy to let it eat at you.
For some reason, I had this idea that like I deserve something, which is not true. And one time after JJ's, I'm talking to Blake, and I'm like, Blake, I just don't get it. Like you're all around town. How come I can't get these gigs? And he's like, do you want me to answer that as like your friend?
Yeah, right.
Or like just as a guy? I'm like, just ask my friend. He's like, you're an asshole.
Right.
You're not participating in a positive way. You can't get up here where nobody knows you and act like a dick and demand that someone pay attention to you. That's just not how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, get up here, put in your licks, take it. Eventually, I promise you they're going to listen, but you cannot continue on this path where you feel like
Right. That you're entitled.
you're entitled
Yeah.
and you've come into town, all of a sudden you're the world's greatest songwriter and people should just shut up and listen to you. They don't know you.
Right.
They've never seen you. You're a ridiculous guy in a big hat to them.
And it's not even like proving yourself, it's just like it's just showing what you got, laying your cards on the table.
And he's like, what people see most about you is that you're kind of a dick to work with.
Right.
And word gets around real fast
Right.
in Oklahoma because it is so tight knit.
Oh, for sure. 100%. If you're a dick, like, people are going to find out faster
Real
than
fast.
anyone could even, fucking tweet it or whatever. You're gonna
know.
word of mouth is gonna fly.
Because I'm like,
man.
hey, so and so at the Blue Door, how can I get a gig? Blah blah blah. Well, then Greg Johnson calls his favorite 5 people, and they're like, what do you know about this Gordon guy? And they're all like, oh, sometimes he likes to stop his sets halfway through and just yell at people.
Yeah.
And guess what? You're not getting booked.
Never heard back from him again.
Nope. So a lot of it just had to do with me just chilling out and just trying to figure out where and how do I belong in this particular scene that I'm in.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you fit in pretty well. I mean, you've got the album.
The album's great.
You have the one, or is there?
I've got 2.
Okay.
But
everybody go listen to the most recent one.
Yeah, it's called Bitter Homes and Gordon. And which, if you've met me or heard my songs, it makes perfectly good sense that
goes hand in hand with some of the stories you were talking
the
about.
stories
stuff like
I'm talking about. I've got another one where it's like 20 songs, just me in my living room, one microphone.
The old Brad Fielder approach.
Yeah, just ran through it, which I'm really proud of. I've got something on Bandcamp that's like an EP of some like experimental stuff I did with like weird drums and cool instruments.
Nice.
But I'm really proud of this Bitter Homes and Gordon just because I did it on my own. It was something that I just
It's an
challenged
accomplishment, man.
myself.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I'm looking around here and I'm like, oh, I think I need that thing and whatever that deal does and those things and that thing. But I spent a year of my life just in my shed long after Heather had gone to bed, and I just wanted to get something out where I could start something and finish something and be proud of it at the end. And for once in my life, I'm a procrastinator. It happened.
Yeah. Got to be an immense feeling of satisfaction.
Oh, dude.
Undoubtedly.
To just be done and just
Yeah.
and go, yeah, I did it.
What's next on the slate? What do you
Well,
got any more plans to record?
I do. I'm working on a second album now, and a lot of it is orchestral music.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm super bummed that in my early life we didn't have orchestra. We had band, so it was like pet band, jazz band. I wish we'd had an orchestra. That really interests me, and I'd be really down to do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm writing orchestra music, working on a second album. My partner Heather Burns and I, she's a dancer, and not just like from some weird crazy club, not like not like an actual trained classical dancer. And so we do shows together where she's come up with like a bunch of choreography for some of my songs.
Very cool.
And
I saw somebody, or maybe you posted about it. I saw a little video clip.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty
And
cool.
it's cool, and it's hard for people because they're like, what's going on?
Right. Well, they go hand in hand. They're designed to go hand in hand. And
No one's doing it. We've done it, and we've had a lot of great success in the UK. People seem to be a little more open to that kind of thing. But we're slowly prying people open to this idea that song and dance is like a thing that should be done or could be done together.
Well, and I'm sure like someone in a brewery or a bar or whatever, maybe they aren't necessarily expecting someone to start dancing. So it does. I'm sure it is like an entirely kind of mindset change. But as you keep doing it, people get used to it. Just like when when you first came here, you just keep laying your cards on the table, and people, it's either something people can accept and enjoy, or people might not accept it and enjoy it, and that's totally fine. That's your
right, your prerogative. And what's been great is now people, if I go play somewhere and Heather's not there,
hey, where's
where's Heather? I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm still here. I'm like, well, that's great, but like, where's Heather? I'm like,
Hosty and Brad Fielder just played. How are you gonna follow that up?
I gotta have something, dude. So so that's my next thing is another album, more stuff, more orchestra. I'm playing at the church in Tulsa. I don't know if you've heard of the Church Studios.
Of course. Yeah.
Playing there Saturday. I'm doing Woody Fest, which I'm
nice.
super excited about.
That's a ton of fun.
That was something that I had my claws in like from the get-go. It's
nice.
like, if I'm going to be in Oklahoma, I want to play like the festival.
Right. The singer-songwriter festival. Yeah.
I got to play it. And first few years I was here, I put my cards in, and nothing happened. But because of those relationships we're talking about, I reached out to people and said, hey, I want to play this festival.
Right.
I think personally that my music and the way I perform is perfect for it. Are you willing to go to bat for me? And they all were like, well, of course. I'll send an email. I'll make a phone call.
Man, yeah.
I'll do a thing. And so because of all these wonderful people that have been so supportive since I came, we're able to play Woody Fest this year. Which
hell yeah, man, that's exciting.
I'm over them. I don't care if nothing else happens, really.
Yeah,
in my career,
dude, that'll be awesome. That'll be a ton of fun.
I'm super excited about it.
Well, fantastic, man. And everybody can find you at Gordon McKinney.
GordonMcKinney.com. I got some T-shirts up there for sale from my UK 2023 tour. I got to push those.
Little Debbie Snatch Cakes.
I should make a sticker. That would be hilarious. The album's on the website. T-shirts are on the website. I got stickers and posters and postcards and all that stuff is coming. My updated list of gigs is on there. We have a house show concert series that we put on at our house. It's called The Alleyway in Norman. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram. So we're just trying to build a community the community has been really good to us. So we're trying to do our part for the community that has just
hell yeah, man.
So,
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, every story that you've told is fantastic. I love it. I love your music. It's fantastic. And keep us posted. Anything we can do to help will help. And I sincerely appreciate you coming out, taking the time.
Thank you.
Taking the time on a late Monday. So
it's beautiful out here.
I hope you have just as much fun on the drive back as you did on the way up here.
I will.
Nice. Okay. Well, this has been Spark and Plug Talks. This is some episode of season 3. I'll never remember. And that has been Gordon McKinney. Make sure to watch his episode after you listen to this. And make sure to subscribe everywhere, blah, 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 all that good stuff. And keep us in mind. If you want to come and perform, just hit us up. Peace.
Thank you.